Hey! It's Enrico Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Well, welcome everybody to your favorite prospect power hour. Well, okay, there might be others around, but we're often imitated, never duplicated, mainly because that would take a lot of 3D printing. So, Robbie, it's the last week of the regular season.
Yeah, it's somber. I mean,
Yeah.
like, outside of, Ben, I know you wanted to have a moment of silence for your buddy Kirk, but outside of the final week of MLB season, my playoffs ended in my head-to-head league. The last one I was standing in my home league, and I lost. It was 16 categories, 7-7 tie. And I was the 7 seed and he was the 3 seed. So he got it because of his regular season standing. And I lost. We tied in strikeouts by Shohei Ohtani striking out to Joey Lucchesi. That's what my season came down to.
Here's a good question for you. In fantasy football, it makes all the sense in the world that the playoffs end before the last week of the season.
Yeah.
Is there really anything big that goes on in anything that changes in the last week of Major League Baseball's regular season that would disallow you from using your players normally that week? It really doesn't feel like it to me, but yet all sorts of head-to-head leagues end this past week.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to seem to play on this final week, which is just... that's really weird to me. I don't understand. So,
yeah, this is the only league I play in that ended a week early. I have lots of talk. Adarsh, big Kirk fan. This is a rough week for him, or has been. But just so everyone's aware, Govier is the one who was asking us to do the moment of silence earlier. Anyway, so. As far as the end the 3 leagues that I'm a commissioner in, we all go right to the end. Like anyone who does Roto, you're going right to the end. It gets weird though, because you do have playoff teams and non-playoff teams, compete teams, no compete teams in fantasy, obviously in real life. And it's the real life ones that can screw you over if they're not competing.
Yeah.
And let's say you've got Paul Skeens, as I do in leagues that make a lot of make a lot of impact, those types of players, the Skeens type guys, and Pittsburgh's been dialing him back for real baseball purposes, so he's become less effective in September.
See, that's where this from Govier makes more sense.
Yeah, ended 2 weeks ago
in like very start of September, because honestly, as those players come up, as clinching happens, that's when you actually see a difference. It's this, I don't understand them taking out the last week. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like, what's different now than has been for the last 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, so I like to do a 2-week World Series so that even if there is quirky things, you still at least have typically a 14-day period. So every pitcher should go to the mound at least twice. You potentially could see guys a third time. But realistically, everybody's getting at least 2 turns through the rotation. You're going to have some ups and downs within players, but you have a longer thing. Plus, it's the World Series. It's the end of your league if you're head-to-head. So the better team should be able to win out over a longer period if, in fact, they are still the better team, right? Because in head-to-head, they could have been great in the first half, and then injuries eroded the roster, or they've just been 500 all year long. So you've got more chance to also manage when you have a longer period within that head-to-head. But of course, if you're doing Roto, the fatigue is long set in and your season's basically done because you don't have a playoff. And that's why Roto sucks. And it's the worst and no one likes it. So Ben, things that people don't think suck and people do like are MLB debuts. Connolly early with the Red Sox has had an interesting one because he's been so much better than he is that I was waiting for the shoe to drop, which I thought was going to happen last night. And in the first inning, Red Sox Tampa Bay, it looked like it was going to. He walked 2 guys, which he's done. He walked 40 guys in 100 innings in the minors. So I thought he was due for a big blow up. He was going on 4 days rest, super shaky first inning, got out of it. An unearned run kind of saved his bacon from the stat sheet, but he ended up settling down. And I forget if he pitched 4 2/3, something like that. But it looks like he's going to get another turn in that rotation. He's come on like too strong, I guess. Bryce Eldridge, of course, has debuted with the Giants. He's doing the reverse. He's doing the Kobe Mayo, God, I hope not, start of slow. Hopefully not steady, as Mayo is, really, if you look at the whole, I feel bad for Mikey VA. If you look at the whole Orioles lineup, it looks like a large collection of top prospects that have all slowly slid down a mudslide. They can't get themselves out of trouble. Like a few of them, look, the stat lines are fine, but overall, like you look at the youth on that roster, and then guys like Mountcastle and other players, veterans who were supposed to be something, no one is having an excellent looking standout season.
But you almost wonder, at what point do you say it's the system?
I don't know.
They're
didn't they can the manager a long time ago?
Yeah, but they still have the same front office and pretty much the entire same development system. And look at what has happened with the guys who have left that organization. I mean, the Kyle Sowers, Connor Norby, look at the guys that they traded away last year. Jackson Baumeister, we're going to talk about. Well, we won't talk about. He's not on our list to talk about, but we could talk about him later because he is going to the AFL and actually had a really solid season when he was healthy this year in the Rays system. This is, I don't know. I'm kind of a little curious about what's going on there with the Orioles, but that doesn't really have anything necessarily to do with our debuts. Just kind of really shows you how big the talent is for guys like Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holliday, that they seem to have kind of overcome that and still been productive. So, I mean, not elite, but at least they've both been productive this year, even with everything else around them. So,
which it must be just a horrible clubhouse to go into every day, knowing that the expectations were the opposite of the results. And yet the organization didn't really do anything to course correct outside of course, the manager, which is a big move. I understand that, but it's not the bringing in the veterans to stabilize, because they over-youthed it appears in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And that's with us complaining.
That clubhouse could be fun, but in like a freshman dorm fun. Not what
are we doing tonight? Not winning.
Yeah. But we're still gonna have a 6-pack afterwards. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So other MLB debuts: Zach Cole, outfielder with the Astros, debuted. Rafael Flores, first base catcher with the Pirates. I look at him as in the way in the future, but for now, that's cool. J2 guy, Denzer Guzman, debuted with the Angels.
Yeah,
that's a fun one. Also, 2020 draft pick. Yeah, Petey Halpin debuted with the Guardians, man. It's exciting. I will never forget whatever the year was, 2023, I'm going to go with, when they just brought up a whole bunch of outfielders that all clicked. It was 22. It was with the Swan. It was with, is that right? Yeah. It was, what was it? Who they brought up? They brought up 4 or 5 guys, and everybody kind of clicked within their,
okay. Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking. Yeah.
And then there was like this brief period of time, and then they had to disperse a few of the guys. Anyway, Halpin is now up. That's exciting after having failed outfielders forever. So I'm hoping Halpin can be good. Cole Wilcox with the Rays is up a pitcher. And of course, the Blue Jays brought up Trey Savage, who we've been following his rise all year. Very dominant in the debut. And now it raises interesting questions for the Blue Jays, who, when they had the opportunity to bring Alek Manoah up, who was not at all performing well, not that Savage was doing it at AAA, but they liked what he was doing. It just was not results based. They brought him up, and they've then officially demoted Manoah as well in this last 7-10 days. But yeah, Savage, from that over the top delivery, you can really tell that as an unorthodox delivery for MLB hitters to see, that's going to take some adjustment. So I like the idea of Toronto throwing him in. I would certainly like to see him move him maybe to a bullpen type role for the playoffs, so you're not upsetting any of your $140 million rotation guys, knowing that I think, you're not going to rock Scherzer. You're not moving any of those guys. So I don't know if you're going to do that to Savage. But the front office does have a recent history of promoting a rookie starter and then just kind of flooring him out. And that's why I did mention Alek Manoah being officially demoted back to the Bisons. So that's an interesting one with Savage debut. What they do with him moving forward will be fun. So
you remember Miguel Cairo when he was playing, like Yankees, Rays?
Yeah, whatnot? Certainly.
He is right now the interim manager with the Nationals. And I don't have the game on, but I have like the game day going. And it just posted that Miguel Cairo was ejected after the Braves walked the bases loaded. Now, mind you, this is with Jackson Rutledge on the mound, and Rutledge, after the ejection, has gone 3 balls in a row, and actually 4, but the umpire likes him a little bit. Is trying to be generous, and so gave him one very far on the edge of the zone. So I don't think that's the guy you want to go out and get ejected for, but it just kind of caught my eye that he got ejected, and it's like, Jackson Rutledge doesn't really know that the plate exists. He just throws a ball.
Yeah, but I'm like, what happened to lead to your manager in a game that doesn't mean
it doesn't
anything
matter at all. Yeah.
Like it might mean to the individuals getting intense, but what are they getting intense over? Unless it's just this is a continuation from previous times.
Or maybe he's sick and tired of being here, and he went out. For all I know, he bumped the umpire. He's going to miss the next 2 games. He just like, this. I only got to work half a week now.
Had some dinner reservations tonight.
So there you go.
Got to bounce out. Yeah, that's possible.
So, Robbie, we had one of those little fun things that happens every so often in baseball happen this week, and Levi Jordan, who otherwise is kind of just a guy, was in the Cincinnati organization. He ended up playing all 9 positions this week.
Yeah, fun.
That's fun. I mean, I think that might be the last we talk about Levi Jordan ever, but it's fun for now. So
but it's fun better him than Will Ferrell in the preseason for different teams, right? So at least now an actual professional player has done it. So
I mean, but if Will Ferrell would have played cowbell on second base, I would have been okay with that.
Yeah. Okay.
That at least would have been something.
That would have been championship caliber, just like transition incoming. The low A champs, San Jose Giants, San Francisco's minor league team won the California League. Lynchburg Hillcats, the Cleveland Org won the Carolina League. Lakeland Flying Tigers, Detroit won the Florida.
That is such a scary freaking image. A literal flying tiger. Would be a really scary thing to ever
only in Florida. Only in Florida, although shouldn't be, but they're there. I'm sure.
Well, I mean,
so they all won. Exciting stuff. High A champs, Ben. West Michigan Whitecaps again. Detroit Midwest League. Now this is the team that had the 700 winning percentage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everett Aqua Sox, which is Seattle. Not one of the other Sox teams, won the Northwest League, and the Brooklyn Cyclones of the Mets organization won the South Atlantic League. Finishing off the Tigers news for tonight, courtesy of official sponsor Michael Govier, Tigers could have 3 champs as Erie is currently leading in the AA Eastern League Championship. So that would be so fun for them because they just can't stop winning in Detroit, right? Exactly. There we go.
Well, unless they play the Braves, but anyway.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Because baseball is what every Tiger fan
there we
will
go.
say.
100%.
So
now
sad
we have
news.
Sad news. Yeah. Normally, right now, I mean, it's the last week of the season. We don't have a Jesus Take the Wheel pick, but we need to have this segment simply because the songwriter for Jesus Take the Wheel, and God forgive me, I did not put his name on here, and that's terrible of me, but he passed away this week. And so I'm sure it'd take us almost no time at all to find it, but I'm just saying, Robbie, are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Appreciate it, Ben. I was just pausing so I could ensure I got the name Brett James, Hillary Lindsay, and
There we
Gordy
go.
Sampson that recorded. So I believe it's Brett James that passed away.
Brett James was the one that passed away. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's done other things too, but just,
that was
the one that kind of the big song for him. So
yeah, and we have definitely seen some starters doing fun, exciting things that we did not expect in September here. And part of that is related to the Jesus Take the Wheel fun and games. However, we did shut it down for September simply because it's hard to get that 3 start scenario that I like to do for Jesus Take the Wheel. Connolly Early would have been possibly one of those guys once he came up.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would have looked at him as a potentially effective guy, more of a he's going to get an opportunity guy. And as we did mention, I forget what he is at now, like maybe 15 and a third innings or 14, something like that.
It's 14 and a third and 22 strikeouts.
Okay. Yeah, which is
strikeouts to 3 walks. Now,
and that's not him.
3 walks, the 3 walks, he has stretches like this. Okay. So yes, you're going to throw, Braves back at me, but this he has reminded me all year long as he has been coming up of Bryce Elder. Where a guy who's very serviceable number 5.
Jesus Take the Wheel pick right there.
But I mean, that's really when you watch Early, that's the type of guy that he looks like to me is a future number 5, which is he's probably got more of a leash because he throws with his left hand rather than, Elder throws with his right. But, a guy who's going to have some games where he gives up, 5 walks, his walks tend to come in bunches, and that's what Elders do. Elder has a lot of games where there's 2 strikeouts over 6 innings and 1 walk, and he gives up 11 hits. And you're just like, really, dude, can you just avoid a bat once? But that's really in the minor leagues, that's what Early looked like. I mean, he looked like a guy who was going to be a pitch to contact guy. I hope he has a really good defense behind him. I'm impressed, but that's a whole nother discussion. We could talk about him for a little while. But
he's just overachieving, and that's totally fine. Yeah. But like the K rate is great. And in 18 starts in minor league baseball, 100 and a third innings pitched, 132 Ks, but he had 40 walks. And if you're like, well, that's not terrible. I agree. It's not terrible. But if you put that up and like, let's do the thing that everybody hates. Let's just give him another 50 innings on top. That means he's going to be in the 60s for walks. That's going to put him in the top 20, it looks like, of MLB pitchers for walks.
Yeah.
And that's without him getting, if he was to get a proper workload in, it's high. And that's if he does what he did in the minors. Now he's like I said, overachieving right now, which is good. Fine. Totally fine. I mean, F the Red Sox, but like totally fine that he's doing that. I really want someone to help Connor Wong to hit again more than I want Connolly Early to be succeeding on the mound. So, but anyway, Ben, we're quick.
My gosh, we got the whole crew tonight.
Yeah, Mike, VA, we were just singing the Orioles praises.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry, Ben's gonna tell you the truth. They're talking about how they look like the Rockies.
Do we want to take a break and do?
We're flying tonight. Let's do it.
I know this is kind of. I'm not used to this, so all right. Let's throw out something. How about this one?
So let me repeat your order here. That'll be 1 double cheeseburger, ching. Large fries, no large soda, ching. 2 kids meals and 2 medium sodas. Ching! 1 chicken sandwich, large fries, and a vanilla milkshake. Bada bing! That'll be $62.75. We're a little shy.
Remember when you could feed your whole family fast food for less than $10? Well, at Rally's, you still can. Rally's has it right.
Oh my God! $1.97.
I mean, for a whole combo meal.
Yeah. You can't get a soda for less than that now. Not these days.
I mean, $60 for your family to go through a
That
drive-through.
would probably be a deal, right?
That'd be about right.
Yeah.
You know, that or maybe even a little cheap. Yeah. So, Robbie, you put on the top here that most lists we're going to start talking Arizona Fall League, and most top 100, top 150, top whatever list you look at, there are 13 to 15-ish guys that are in that top 100 range that are going to be out in Arizona this year. From what I was looking at, that's fairly normal. That's about right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we're not skimping on the top level stuff, but I think there's some very interesting kind of next level players that we're going to get into here.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the times, and I use Toronto as my example this year because it's always easy for me to just talk about some of the dudes within their system and what they've done, because it's just always in my ear in the background. And a lot of people that like to talk baseball with me locally are Blue Jay fans diving into Blue Jay stuff all the time. So a lot of teams send what would be known as filler guys. They're not always sending opportunity guys who are looking to, there's different, I guess maybe a better way is there's different tiers of players who go. There's your future starting position players and pitchers who you want to put up against good competition. There are injured players who you want to get more at bats or innings pitched or opportunities in general. There are young players who you want to challenge more than the level they've been at, which sometimes doesn't help because they just get blown away and have a bad line. And then there are legitimate fillers who you need to send more people. And for variations of what I previously mentioned, you send these other players. And Toronto's got a mix of that this year with the Glendale Desert Dogs, which is made up of the Blue Jays, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the White Sox, and the Shies, also known as the Braves. When they do well, they're the Braves, right? Ben, is that okay? When they're not doing well, they're Shies? There's got to be a nickname somewhere for that.
I just wish that they were the Hammers. No, actually, when they're not doing well, they're called the Barves. I don't know if you remember this. A number of years ago, they had they showed up to Washington, and the only jerseys they had a misspelling of the Braves.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I don't remember
Barves. That. And so that's like, this is like end of Bobby Cox, beginning of Freddie Gonzalez era. But yeah, they came into Washington, D.C., and they were wearing jerseys for one day that said Barves.
That's amazing.
So that's forever has become a thing. And I think they lost that game, and it was an expected win. Like they were should have won.
That would have been like very bad Washington Nationals at that point in time. I'm guessing like late 90s.
And that was the very, very end of Bobby Cox's run. So the teams were legit playoff teams pretty much every year. So that was that's usually the phrase that Braves fans bring out is the Barves when they're not doing well.
Which that's an excellent fan base line there. So I think what I'll do, Ben, is why don't I just say the pitchers, and then every name will have been said, but you can just go back to the ones that are of note. Does that sound good?
Well, let's start with the top guys. The guys who are going to likely be on a top 100 list. And Glendale has 3 that are probably going to be on a lot of those top 100 lists. Braden Montgomery, this is likely a let's see next level competition for him because they started him out kind of low. He was an A-ball all year and never got to AA, I don't believe. So this is kind of a let's test him out against maybe some better competition. Hagen Smith, this will be a good coach him up because he's got to figure out how to hit the strike zone consistently. Yep. And then the guy who I'm really excited to see, I get to be down in Arizona for First Pitch Arizona, and I really will be disappointed if we don't get to see Jose de Paula, because man, when I watch that guy on video, he jumps off the screen. You see the talent. It's obvious, the best player on the field, and he's always been that guy. And he's been on pretty loaded Dodger teams in the minors. So, but those are the 3 studs on Glendale's roster. They have a pretty, I actually think they have a pretty solid contingent overall that's going to make them a pretty decent team that'll probably win more than what their top end talent would suggest. But I think you brought forward something that I agree with. There's going to be a lot of Toronto pitchers that'll have something to say about that.
Yeah, they've got a lot of arms, a lot of the Bluebirds arms here. So I'm going to go through the ones of some note. Che Yeager with Toronto, Kai Peterson, Yoendry Rojas. Where was the other two here that I was looking for? Alex
Amalfi,
and then Angel Bastardo, who
that's right.
I believe was a Rule 5 pick this year, and that's why he is of note because he's been injured all year. Yep. I'm going to make the mistake of clicking on a player page and see if it lines up or loads up for me quickly. Yeah, there's no 2025 stats, so he has not yet been in a game. But yeah, he is present, and I'm assuming will be pushed by Toronto because there'll be some implications as far as what happens with it. But the other notables, Drew Hackenberg of your Hotlanta Braves is going to be there. Che Wee Lin, the 6'7" toothpick St. Louis Cardinal pitching prospect. Hun Suk Jang, the Dodgers J2 guy that they got at the end of the signing period. I think it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was 3 signing periods ago.
Like
so fantasy
Korea,
relevant for like,
is that right?
Yes. Yep. And he is supposed to be really good and was supposed to be super polished and has struggled mightily, but he's going to be there. So this is an opportunity for him to see some higher level competition than what he's throwing against.
Fun stuff, just needs to get in the zone more consistent.
Strike
because
zone.
I think he's a less than 4 ERA guy, and he spent some time in the Cal League. So to be able to do that is at least notable, but he's a guy who had some professional time behind him, I believe, or else a lot of international competition. Regardless, he should be able to work his way up. Should have been able to work his way up to AA by now, and the control stuff is what's kind of kept him there. So, but the last one is going to be a fun one, and that's Kendall George, who stole 100 bases in the minors this year. And you got to love having a guy who can do that. Just last year, Chad Durbin set the record for steals in an AFL. And so you might have someone who could challenge that this year. But then again, Victor Scott went out to the AFL, stole double digits, but didn't come anywhere near that record. So, I mean, just because they're fast does not necessarily mean they're going to steal a lot in Arizona. One guy you didn't mention with the Toronto crew is Josh Kasevich.
Well, and I do have a note on him, but I was waiting for the position, guys, because I thought you were going to talk nachos.
Oh, okay.
Why are we seeing an MLB regular going to the AFL? But yeah, Kasevich is an interesting one as well. So why don't you do your Brave? I'll do my air quotes Blue Jay, not mine.
Well, the reason you're seeing Alvarez, and you very well may or may not by the time he was announced, but he's getting full-time run this month in the majors. Big reason is just injury. He missed a lot of the year this year. And to be frank, the Braves really, I think now that they have Kim at shortstop, Riley coming back next year, they really, I mean, unless they decline Albi's option, there's really nowhere to put Alvarez.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me wonder if, the Braves are very good at finding someone on the margins and doing something with him. Joel Payamps today was signed by the Braves. So
was Charlie Morton.
Yeah.
So
that one actually sounds like it might be for him to retire as a Brave.
Sure. Or he's going to become Jesse Chavez now and start doing that.
There you go. Which, hey, if he wants to, if Charlie Morton is my pitching coach, I'm quite all right with that.
Certainly. Yeah.
But
you're right. It's a little crowded, especially with long-term contracts, but even just like next year contracts, like you're saying with Kim, with the Braves. So maybe this is an opportunity where Alex is thinking we're going to be wheeling and dealing. So I'm going to give, I'm going to serve up my nachos in the AFL and see if anybody's interested in him or drumming up something else that could work.
We weren't happy about it here on this podcast, but they did that same thing with Justin Henry Malloy, where he was major league ready. They sent him out to Arizona Fall League and got some interest, and that's how they ended up flipping and getting Joe Jimenez in the bullpen. And so that's sometimes it works well for you.
Yeah. So the other guy of note, as Ben had mentioned, is Josh Kasevich, which I think he's a 2022 second round draft pick of the Blue Jays, second, third round, something like that. He's been a very high average hitter, kind of empty average, if you want to call it that, not no power going behind it this year, injured. So that's why I think he's here. Also, he's potentially Rule 5 eligible, I believe. I saw that. Yes. I don't know if that was, that is for him because he was a college hitter. So he's a year ahead of what will be 2021 type players. He's interesting because there's a high likelihood that Bo Bichette will not be back in Toronto next year. Kasevich played in AAA last year, did not get the reps this year. And you might be willing to have a league minimum type player. Also, Ben, I don't think we noted the departure of Orvelis Martinez from Toronto. I don't know if we talked about that when that happened.
I don't think we talked about that. No, I thought that was an interesting choice.
Yes, so there's definitely something going on why you would do that, because you hold on to your assets. So he clearly is no longer an asset. But Kasevich might be somebody who we'll hear a lot of talk in spring training about. Maybe this could be the rookie that breaks camp, blah, blah, blah. We'll see what they do in the offseason. Same deal with Alvarez, where maybe he's a trade chip. Regardless, he's interesting. And then the Blue Jays have a crappy catcher, Edwin Duran. And I say that respectfully in the sense that, like, yes, Britain, he's Venezuelan. But no, I don't know that he's got a future as a legitimate starting catcher. And then St. Louis is bringing Grayson Tarlow, who is not a youthful Arizona Fall League type guy, as they once upon a time brought Ivan Herrera when he was like the youngest guy at the AFL. And that was exciting. Neither of these catchers are like that, but we'll see what happens. So
question for you on Kasevich. Does it scare you that the injury this year was back?
It's really weird. So as a person who's had a back injury, when you recover and feel good, you feel 100%. And when you have a motion or you do a thing and you feel something, there's a moment before the injury happens again. So depending specifically on what this injury was, because a back injury is many parts to our back. Yep. So really it would depend on exactly what it is. It's obviously not ideal to have a player with an injury that could easily reoccur. As a man in my early to mid 40s, I've thrown my back out 3 times and felt moments where I needed to stop what I was doing to prevent it. So as somebody who's 20 years younger, I would hope he has not done anything to that degree. And it was hopefully an impact type injury, not a movement type injury. So that aside, I mean, Blue Jays have guys, you know, the falafel might return again. Maybe he's going to become part of that veteran core, where he could be, you just don't know what they're going to do because they've got money coming off the books.
I just think if I'm worried about a back injury, probably the 2 positions I worry about it most are obviously pitcher, but then secondary would be shortstop. That would be the second most worrisome to me. I mean, to me, a shortstop with a back injury, as much as he needs to be able to generate throwing power across the diamond, make reach plays, things like that, is about like a catcher with a knee injury. It's just, it really is kind of a pretty essential function or functional joint or functional area of the body at that position. And so that's my only question there. I'm really curious just to see how he looks, how he plays, how fluid he is in his movement. So I'm curious. We'll get to see that.
And maybe this is part of that too, Ben, is show what you can do right now, and we'll let you know what we're thinking at the end, so that when they have those typical end of the year meetings, they could discuss the fact that, like, here's what we want to see in spring training. You're coming to big league camp. Congratulations. Or that's our plan, or whatever it is. And then, they deal them for an RP something crummy.
That's
like
about
that.
the way it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's head over to Mesa. You want to switch it up and go with some Solar Sox?
Yeah. So here's the fun part. Mesa Solar Sox. Listen to the teams quickly. Athletics, Chicago Cubs, Miami Marlins, New York Yankees, Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah,
what do you not
Sox
hear? I was just going to say, what do you not hear on the Solar Sox?
How is Boston
Sox.
and the White Sox not like it should be?
Yes.
That, and then there should be other Sox adjacent teams. Come on, baseball.
I'm just, come on. Why can't we do logic here? And now, for all I know, Glendale is the White Sox actually play out in Arizona for spring. So it may be.
Chad's got a funny one here. He's excited to see if Tony Blanco Jr. competes for the AFL home run record or striker record. I'm with you. Ben and I were talking about that before. I'm like, I'm so happy to see him. I remember the J2 hype around this guy. And here's the next opportunity.
Yep. We'll get to that, but yeah, absolutely. So Mesa, I really only had two guys that are kind of both fringe top 100 guys, not necessarily consistent ones. But Aiden Smith, outfielder with the Rays, and then Starlin Caba, who's been playing kind of shortstop, second, a little around the diamond with the Miami Marlins, was a big time J2 guy, and kind of has had a pretty up and down path. You like either one of those two guys?
Not particularly.
Yeah, just kind of. I thought Smith had a lot more power speed combo.
Okay.
I just don't know if I worry that it's going to be a thing where he doesn't have enough contact to access it. That he's not on base enough that he's going to end up accessing that power speed combo where trying to think of who's the Houston outfielder that came up Loperfido. Loperfido had a really good, and then came up and just has never had contact at the major league level in order to show off the power speed that he does have. So, so there are some really fun guys here on this team. And we're going to start with a very fun one because Mason Auer, A-U-E-R, for those who are following at home, this is really interesting. I don't know what to expect here. This is, where did I put athletics? I thought I had athletics players on here somewhere.
On the show sheet?
Why do I? Yeah, I have them in the wrong team. So I am going to go.
That's because they don't have a set home, Ben. So they were just floating around on the show sheet also.
Yeah, because that means that we didn't. This is probably the least star-studded of teams. But
and you were taking away the peripherals.
I'm taking the peripheral guys away. But one of the guys to very much be interested in is Tommy White, who I think is absolutely a guy who's a legit, edge of the top 100 type of player right now. Certainly into that 150 to 200 mark.
Well, here, Ben, let me just say all their infielders because you're going to be able to rhyme off the rest, but it's an interesting list. Starlin Caba, who mentioned with Miami, Ed Howard, former first-round pick with the Cubs, which interesting road it's been for him. Joshua Grota Grauer with the A's, who Chad had just mentioned. He could be a potential fringe top 100. Absolutely, he could have a good fall league and kind of bump himself up. I don't want to Juan Yepez him because that's not a good way to go. He's a more complete player. Cole Mathis also with the Cubs. Tommy White, as you mentioned, with the A's. Emmanuel Tejada with the Yankees. Who?
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Yep, he's there. Braden Taylor with Tampa Bay, and then Kobe Morales with the Yankees. It is an interesting group because I think there's a lot of playing time for these guys to show what they can do.
Fight for, yeah.
Because
I'm sorry, but if as far as prospecting goes, this is probably Braden Taylor's last hurrah. If he doesn't show out here, he probably falls way off and needs to have that holy crap, prove it AA, AAA moment. because he's not. He simply hasn't proved it in Double-A. Now, Auer is going to be interesting because he's listed as an outfielder, but he moved to the mound this year. He did not he did not have a single at bat all year long. Only had 6 innings on the mound, but he is working as a pitcher now, and took time to develop in the system. Has always had like that 60-70 grade arm, and which he's a guy who didn't have great instincts in center, but kind of made up for it because he was freaking crazy fast and had a holy hell arm. So he kind of made up for the not great instincts in center. I really am interested to see
2021 5th round pick, Ben, and he has had a roller coaster of a career, because I think it was 22. I'm going to look right now. His first AFL year was 2022. Yep. And that was after an excellent season where he hit 290 with 15 home runs and 48 stolen bases, 372 OBP. And it was like, wow, this is a guy. And that just off a cliff after that in 23, 24. And like you said, did not have a registered professional at bat and started to pitch in like you said, 5 2/3 innings this year. So I don't know what's up. This is like bulk arm, but we remember the name, you know?
Yep. Like, and that's just it. I kind of I wanted to bring him up simply because it'll be interesting to see if he can make that transition. I mean, it's kind of like when you watch like Charlie Culberson, you know, in the minor leagues where he's trying to make the transition to a pitcher. That's fun. It's interesting. It's not necessarily truly something you ever really need to worry about for your fantasy team.
Right. You don't need to worry off for this guy. Yeah, this is a fun baseball thing, and hopefully he does something. Anthony Ghost is the last one I remember who who's consistently made it, right? He made it in the sense that like he transitioned from position player to an MLB pitcher at times, not with consistency. He's been on several teams. I believe even this year he was possibly within the Mets organization, something like that. But I can date him back through Blue Jay lore to connect him indirectly to the Phillies Roy Halladay trade way back when, because there was something that I can't remember where it went. But anyway, so those guys can kick around for a long time.
Other than you know Kenley Jansen, because that was the guy who went from.
But he didn't do it at the major league level.
No. I mean, didn't make it. But I mean, neither is Auer.
No, but Anthony Ghost was a major league hitter and then turned into Kenley Jansen is a pretend converted player. Okay. He didn't do it long enough.
Hey, he still does it in the WBC. He has caught in the WBC.
Okay.
But
I apologize.
He has never caught a professional or caught since he made the transition a professional inning, but he has caught in the WBC, which I think is always kind of funny. Especially now that he's like in his late 30s. Like, I'm kind of curious if he's going to still try that out again.
Yeah. Hey, when they love the game, right? But the outfield is interesting as well. It's our Aiden Smith, Fenwick Tremble, Braylor Guerrero, who I honestly, a Tampa Bay guy, who I think he could be an interesting one here. Ryan Lasko,
youngest guy in the AFL.
Yeah. Okay. I was
just barely, but he is the youngest.
And then PJ Morlando, who is a semi-familiar name to everybody out here. Now I believe you went through the pitchers. You mentioned them, like Bryce Cunningham with the Yankees is an interesting one that's here. Now, I don't know that I need anything out of him here other than, sub 6.5
innings.
ERA. Yeah. Like I don't want it to fall apart out here. But there will be guys within this pile here that might do something interesting. So I didn't see
the one that I brought up,
Keith Smith.
I put on the list Carson Milbrandt with the Marlins.
Okay,
6'3" guy, but has arms and legs like he's about 6'7", and his delivery really throws hitters off because of that, because he's got such long arms and legs. But he can also reach 99. It's just a matter of being consistent with the shape. He actually has decent control. It's a matter of sometimes that fastball is as straight as an arrow fastball, and sometimes it has some pretty fun, wicked movement. and he needs to be more consistently getting that movement on it. And I mean, he's in a good org for it. But this is a guy who I could see absolutely having a 150 ERA or a 1050 ERA, just because that's the way it works in Arizona.
Yeah.
A guy like this a lot of times gets beat up pretty good. But, in all seriousness, there are a number of guys who have just gotten tattooed in Arizona who figured out, oh, crap, I need to fix this, this, and this, and they turn into productive major league pitchers.
Yeah, now I know we talk in spring training about guys working on stuff. I assume because this is technically no different than a spring training, it doesn't matter if there would be pitchers working on things through instructions from their organization, because each team does have its own coach for, as you would, and they're typically, they try to spread out the organizations, I believe, that have the coaches. It's not just like here's the Atlanta coach and here's the Cubs coach or whatever it is, or it's Cubs coaching staff and the Atlanta coaching staff. But that would be something I would assume that teams would say, oh, we really want you to work on these secondary, you need that third pitch because we believe in you, or we would like to see how you can battle against a lefty in this manner, a righty in this manner, and then, go enjoy the experience. But, don't think about the stat lines, pitchers.
The big thing you see in Arizona fall that you often will see in spring training is you'll see a lot of guys who are learning a new position. As far as the hitters go.
Right.
And so I'm sure there is that level of instruction on both. I know that most teams really like sending fringe catchers because there's a lot of good catcher education. Catchers always look like crap here because they're catching all sorts of guys they've never caught before. So it really makes the catcher look silly because there's a lot of pass balls. There's a lot of errors because you're catching movement you've never seen before. So that does come into play, but that's why, and we'll get into him here in a little. Actually, you know what? Let's transition to the next team because
I was going to say, because
there's a good transition here.
Yeah. So the next one is the Peoria Javelinas. Nailed it. And that's Baltimore, Cincinnati, Minnesota, Seattle, and San Diego. Top-rated prospect Enrique Bradfield Jr. Of Baltimore, Seattle's Johnny Formello, Ethan Salas, who sure, and then Alfred Duno of Cincinnati. So two, Ben, arguably two highly touted prospect catchers. Realistically, one pop-up type catcher in Duno who we want to hear about, and then Salas, who's just going to torture fantasy baseball GMs for years and years.
So Salas, I will tell you right now, Salas 100% is the better catcher. And that's why 2 years ago he was in AFL and it was freaking impressive because he was 17.
Right.
And handled things defensively. He's still got that guy defensively, but the bat has just not developed yet. I don't know what it's ever going to become, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's the type of guy that has a Miguel Olivo type of path to his career where he never turns into a great hitter, but he's such a good defender that he ends up having a 10 to 12 year career out of it. I think he's actually a better defender than that, but I don't know if he ever gets to, I think Olivo was kind of borderline 30 homer pop. I don't think that's ever what Salas becomes, but still Duno is holy crap a fun offensive player. The defense has taken a big step forward this year to where he's kind of a fringe future catcher right now. That's still, it's at least not been taken off the table at this point, which is kind of what they thought it might at some point to become, is that he was going to have that off the table. But then this is a team to me that has a really fun amount of depth, but probably not a lot that people are going to recognize name-wise. So I'll get into the hitters here that we have on the others to note. Billy Amick with the Twins was a big stud coming out of college from Tennessee. He's been injured, and it was a hamate injury, which always saps power for about a year. So he's been making really good contact, but that power just hasn't been there like folks expected. Hendry Mendez actually is a guy that they acquired at the deadline, and all he does is hit for average. So there's a little kind of question as to what is he other than hitting 330, which, obviously that's not a bad thing to hit 330, but is there more to him than that profile? And then Cincinnati has two guys that have been on and off dynasty radars, but just injuries and then not great performance when they have been healthy has kind of held them back. Cam Collier and Leo Balcazar. And I think I might still own a share or two of Balcazar in places.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's, man, when he started out, the word on him was just huge on the way he could, his discipline, and just there was excellent power speed potential. One of those guys who wasn't putting it up in games yet, but the scouting reports were really big. And then he just got hurt, and he's never stayed healthy long enough to show it. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Arms, a name to get to know, Luis De Leon with Baltimore coming into this year probably would have been a much bigger deal by the end of the year if he wouldn't have gotten hurt coming into the year. I really like him as a guy who could, I don't know that he'll even contend to open the year in Baltimore. I can't remember if he's even seen AA, but
yeah, he finished the year in AA, Ben. I was just checking. I actually just quickly grabbed my Fantrax because I'm like, I've got him rostered. Now, is it in one league or two? And it is in one league that I've got him only.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing right now he's available in another dynasty league. So he had an excellent rebound, 0 home runs given up.
Yes.
In his, 80 some innings this year?
And that's I really think he's kind of a very similar profile that we talked about him earlier to Connolly Early.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Clayton Kershaw.
No, just a tick better stuff than Connolly Early, I think, on the mound. But, we've seen when you have that kind of profile and you're left-handed every so often, you can go on a little run. The other pitcher I noted, Christian Little, who there are those on LSU's 2023 championship team who said that Little was the second most impressive, raw tools pitcher to Paul Skeens. That's a big statement when a guy like Grant Taylor is on that team too, and there were some other really good pitchers on that LSU team. He just never could put it together in college and landed in a perfect system in Seattle to develop him. And this year took a big step forward in command. I'm really curious to see what he can do. He is not rated anywhere. And I think a lot of folks backed way off because he was like a 6.7 ERA guy at the end of college. And so the Mariners.
Yes, he was. I'm looking at the line right now.
Yeah. And the Mariners.
He was an 11th round pick in 24.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I was say Mariners got him outside of your early rounds, but he legit has the talent that he could have been an early round guy. If they can develop him, this could be a real big steal for them.
Well, I would say, Ben, numbers alone, he went from his final year of college in 24, pitching 29 2/3 innings pitched, no starts, to 17 starts this past year in A and low and high A, 70 total innings, which more than doubled last year, 73 Ks, and he's going to the fall league where it's likely he could see 10 more innings. This is an excellent looking long play for Seattle here. He finished the year 9 innings in high A, so he would start in Everett next year. And we could see this role here. This could be the pop-up type guy that Seattle can produce every other year. Wu, what would be 2 years ago was Wu. And then Logan Evans was a more recent version of that. Maybe Little could be the follow-up to that. And I guess the fallback would be he must. I mean, I haven't watched the video. I admit I usually YouTube these fellas and watch a few of their starts at in the past and then the present stuff to see what's changed. But I mean, maybe he's a fallback bullpen type guy, and that's why they were okay to get him. But they're maxing out as a start. Every appearance this year was a start.
Yes, that was the thing that impressed me this year, because I honestly, knowing what he had done in college, I saw the name, I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting, and he's not being rated, so he must have gotten moved into a bullpen. And I pull him up, and I was like, oh, well, no, he's actually started every time out this year. So, it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, good frame, all those things. He's built right. He had the right stuff. But
1% rostered on Yahoo.
Yeah,
1%.
This is a college guy who, after he was very young. I believe he enrolled at Vandy as a would have been his high school senior year.
17, so he played at Vanderbilt.
He decided not to go into the high school draft. He was one of the top pitchers in that year's class. It actually started for them, and then things kind of fell off in 22 for him. He was used out of the bullpen more, and then he decided to transfer to LSU and was almost purely a reliever for them, and it wasn't good. So, but yeah, this year, like I said, I'm just impressed. It's been a ball, but he is only 21. That's the other thing, so he's still a young guy that could have time to develop for the Mariners. So anyway, that's all on that. Unless do you have anyone else on Peoria that you look at and you're like, this could be interesting?
No one else that I see today, but that's when the wrap-up episode will be interesting. Mm-hmm. Ethan Anderson, who's a catcher for Baltimore, is the third catcher for this team. And the most interesting part of him is that he's from Honolulu, Hawaii, and he is a white ginger. And to me, has an absolute Minnesotan name in Hawaii, which is like, wait a minute. Yes. So but we'll see what comes from that. So next one up, Ben, are the Salt River Rafters. Is that that's who we've got on the show sheet, right?
Yep.
There we go.
And
that is
they're
Arizona, kind of Boston, Colorado, the Angels, and Pittsburgh. Okay, go, Ben.
Yeah. They're another team that has minimal as far as elite guys.
Wow, there's some Rockies.
Yeah. Charlie Condon, actually a Rocky, is probably their top prospect. I am really interested to see where Condon's going to play in the fall league, because
that's true.
They've announced him as an outfielder, and I can't remember. I don't think he played that much outfield this year. I could be wrong on that. I've been wrong before once. So, but the other guy it was a bad day.
January 6th,
man.
Right?
Let's not get into seriously. Politics in my day job is just
That's why I think it's great to just constantly bring these things up. So Ben, I've got a fun one off topic, work related. Anyone listening that can hit up YouTube, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. So I've been off for 4 days. Okay, I worked 10 days straight. September was stressful start, very busy at work. Then I had 4 days off after working 10 straight. So the chef in the kitchen I'm in, I'm the assistant chef for him. So he was off the 2 days before I had my 4 days off. So I completely cleared out everything from our shared office of mine. Everything, pictures off the wall, cookbooks, everything out of my drawers, everything. And I put it into a half-size cabinet and I hid it in our dry storage, which is a very big space, and no one would see that it was in this cabinet in the back corner. So he would have walked in on what would have been last Friday morning, and it just looks like I've disappeared. And he messaged me a couple times and called me Friday morning. Now I was at a rink with my son. I was allowing him to skip some school because he's still recovering from his knee surgery, and his class was going on a field trip to a dairy farm. he wasn't going to get to do all the fun dairy farm things. So he and I went to watch some of his same age friends play in a hockey tournament. So I did not get back to my buddy chef until 11:51 a.m. and I said hello to his message, and he did not get back to me until Sunday. So apparently, as my wife has said, he is rightfully so pissed off at me, and this could affect our working relationship moving forward. Or as I am arguing, I have pulled an office level prank, like the show The Office level prank, the Jim Halpert type thing that's so clever that you just got to respect my game. So I'm curious if anyone has thoughts on that, of completely clearing out my stuff. I did nothing wrong. I just emptied out all of my stuff and put it in a hidden spot so that he would walk in Friday morning and see nothing of mine. And then I obviously don't answer the phone when he called and texted. But I did get back to him late in the morning. So, Ben, you ever have someone pull a fun prank like that?
Let's just say I don't handle pranks well. And so therefore, folks that work with me know that I am very fine if they are okay with pranks, pulling pranks on one another.
Yeah, but leave you out of it.
Pull them on me, because I know I don't react well. And so rather than causing an issue in the office, I'd rather not do that and still remain your friend. So that's where I go. You mentioned The Office. Have you seen the show The Paper?
Not yet, no. But I thought of you immediately because I'm like, yes. I feel like this is very relatable to you, although I've only heard peripheral things. Is it like me watching The Bear? Do you think
after
it would compare to that?
Well, after the closure that we had and how we're getting going again and kind of start, this is about a guy who's trying to take what used to be a
fledgling
great paper
yeah.
and trying to turn it into a good paper again. And so he's doing a lot it's crazy. He's doing a lot of the things that I have been doing. And it is incredibly relatable for me. So yeah, I won't say that it's not anywhere near The Office as far as quality and comedy, but there's so much relatability to it for me that I really hope it has a couple of seasons, just because it's really fun to watch. And this is, I brought up Condon just a bit ago, and I pulled this up just because I was like, there's a reason I'm curious on this. He did not play an inning of outfield in Double-A. And he was announced as an outfielder. He played first base almost exclusively, but he also played some third base, and he played third base at every level this year. I'm a little interested to see if he gets any third base time on this team.
I don't like that because Kyle Karros is their third baseman, Ben.
Yes. Well, I'm not
like
saying
my Rockies.
But you always want to have some depth, so
absolutely. And Karros is a little ahead of my ETA for him, knowing that he's going to exceed rookie eligibility by the end of this week. And it's been, I mean, collectively, I know you posted in the Discord, which everyone is welcome to join, the Pallazzo Discord. The Rockies team, is it the team war or the hitters war is like negative 1.3?
The team war.
The team war. It's negative 1.3. So, but that's where a Charlie Condon can come in and get you maybe to a 0. Maybe he could be that type of player, get you to a 0.
Let's just keep his
maximize him. Yeah, maximize him. If he can play outfield in the fall league and he's got kind of third base abilities, 1B would be the fallback for him. I think is a better idea. The guy's 6'6".
Yeah.
So he'll be able to catch him at first, but let's try to have him in a different position if we can. And again, go ahead.
He reminds me so much of Chris Bryant, like player profile, all this stuff. I just worry so much about what injuries could do to his frame. You know what I mean? And then now he's on the Rockies.
Degenerative back condition.
That was my comparison for Condon coming into the draft last year was Chris Bryant. And now it's like, oh gosh, now that he's on the Rockies, nobody in Colorado is going to like that comparison. If you were a Cub fan,
it's
getting
terrible.
Charlie Condon would be great, but because Chris Bryant in Chicago was just fine. But let's cover some of the rest of
Yeah.
Salt River
We
team.
got off topic there, so I do apologize to anybody. But I mean, epic prank at work. Like, let's acknowledge. We'll find out the next time we record how it went. If I'm still employed, this guy doesn't. I'll report to him. But you know, if he apparently is upset,
he really
my wife
raised
thinks
the
he's
stink.
right. Yeah, but the rest of the outfielders here, Jack Hurley with Arizona, who we'd mentioned, Rowdy Rodriguez with the A's, Nelly Taylor with Boston, Stanley Tucker also from Boston, Jared Thomas is another Rocky there, and then the Pirates, Will Taylor. So Hurley's interesting to me.
So
lefty
do
college
they have
hitter?
Esmerlin Valdez listed as a
infielder,
as a first baseman. Yeah, that's interesting because
I don't know. Jr. and Esmeralyn Valdez, both Pirates, both listed as infielders. Braylon Wimmer, Rocky, David Mershon with the Angels, who was an 18th round pick last year. And this is the guy that Ben and I talked about. Ben identified him as already being in AA to finish last year. Now he's in the AFL. And then Jensel Luis with the Diamondbacks as well. It is a talented group with some guys I need more info on, like Taylor and Tucker with the Red Sox. Again, F the Red Sox. And then Hurley is an interesting one. Rowdy Rodriguez could do something here.
Rodriguez had a huge year.
Yeah, this could be I
think he went like 25 doubles, 14 triples, 14 home runs or something like that. Now, granted, Cal League, and he was 21, I think. But still, that's a big freaking season. I don't care what league you're in. When you can put up damn near a 15 in each double triple home run, you're having
22 now. Turned 22 this year. Yeah, A-ball here. Here's the line here, Ben. He had a 281, 372, 470 line, which OPS is 842. 38 stolen bases, 14 home runs, 14 triples, 21 doubles. Holy smokes.
I forgot the steals. Like, that's just kind of filling up every stat line right there.
Beautiful. And he was an 19th round pick in 2023. Like, house money for the Angels right here. I mean, it's time to ruin them. You know, expose them to everybody. Expose this poor guy.
We're gonna Nelson Rada this kid next year, by God.
He's gonna be in AA in April.
He's gonna start
in MLB in May
on the MLB bench, and then we're gonna send him back down to AA because he failed. And that
there's definitely I will predict he's not going to see AAA before MLB. He's gonna go to AA. If this goes well, he's going to AA, and then he's gonna end up in the show. And I don't want that. Kyron Paris, I don't want that to happen.
So Ansel Luis, really interesting. He was a huge money guy with the Diamondbacks in the J2. Well, not J2, it's J15 now, but whatever. Had kind of a rough start to the year, but I want to say his second half was something like a 950 OPS. So he's really finishing strong and could be kind of putting his foot forward for upper minors next year. And I mean, third base, and depending on what you believe about what they're saying about Ketel Marte, second base could both be positions that don't necessarily have a dedicated person for the future. So who knows? Maybe he's making his name and saying, hey, I want to put a claim on one of those positions. So you did put a reliever in here that we got to see in the futures game. I want to say he was among the the minor league leaders in saves this year.
He had, I believe it was 17 saves. Wellington Herrera, a 6 foot thin lefty.
Yeah.
With the Rockies. And Ben Shields is another Rocky that's also had a good season that's going. But Wellington Herrera could potentially be a good bullpen. I hate that the Rockies have talented arms, but a park that doesn't suit. Like, again, I know you've got a knuckleballer somewhere listed. They need that guy. Trade Wellington Herrera for the knuckleballer so that you might be able to like get something out of an arm in Colorado. Because Wellington Herrera, I forget his age right now. Not an old guy to be playing at this level. A beautiful little mustache on him. but he had an excellent season. I think AAA is what he did, and now Fall League. We'll see what he's got here, but this could be another Rocky type guy that could be a back end of the bullpen. They might come 2026 end of season 2027 have a pretty solid young controllable type bullpen, but they need some GD starting pitching that can get them through innings. They need ground ball pitchers and solid defense. And I mean, if a dummy like me can see that path, and I mean, you're an MLB team, develop some guys with knuckleballs, develop some guys with something different, variation on their arm angles, some quirky dudes, find something to help you in your home park. But Herrera just had an excellent line, and I feel like he'll probably have a good fall league too.
And this is like your Justin Lawrence, who comes into the fall league, had a really good year, comes to the fall league. Nobody's going to know who he is. He's going to pop a few 100-mile-an-hour pitches, show a wicked slider, and everyone's going to go, oh, my God, I need to get on this guy. He's the closer of the future. And then they're going to go, whoa. He's the closer of the future in Colorado.
Right.
Remember that. That means he's going to have 30 saves. He's going to strike out 70 and 50 innings.
Yeah,
but he's going to have a 5 ERA. So let's, be careful about what you're wishing for here, folks. So we can move on to the next team here. The Scottsdale Scorpions have probably the top rated prospect coming to them. This is Detroit, Houston, the Mets, the Giants, and the Nationals, who, by the way, Nationals have beaten the shit out of Chris Sale tonight, which...
Ben, think of the children listening.
It's ugly. If you have Chris Sale going in your... the good news for you, if you have Chris Sale going in your fantasy championship, he's only got a 1 whip this game, but he's given up 5 runs in 5 innings. So,
wow.
Yeah, not good. But anyway, so Scottsdale has Kevin McGonigal, and I will tell you, I am a huge fan. If I were putting together a top 100 list right now, that is the guy who would be at the very top of my list.
Okay, he's your boy.
Yeah, and everything he's done this year, about the only thing he hasn't done is he wasn't healthy to start the year. But man, he's a special talent.
For his sake, I hope it wasn't a back injury, because I know how much you hate people with back injuries.
But he's also someone who is going to likely make a change for the next player I'm going to mention, because I think McGonigal eventually moves to second base, and Max Anderson very likely will open the season next year in Detroit, if you ask me. But
that's where Bo Bichette's going to be. Ben, Bo Bichette's going to be there. So,
well, no, he's going to be at shortstop.
Oh, wow! You're going to move Bo to second?
No, I'm saying no. I'm saying
that's where Bo's going to be.
Bo's going to be at
Max,
short.
Sorry.
And then Max can be at either second or third, because they don't exactly. They have Colt Keith, who's kind of played his way to first base.
Sure.
And other than that, they really don't have anyone just saying I have to be the second or third baseman. McGonigal, I think, is the second baseman in the future. Max Anderson has shown that he can do one thing very well, and that's hit.
Yeah,
the guy
absolutely.
and it is hit, and there is gap power. There's a lot of doubles here. I don't know that obviously for us in fantasy, that's not that big of a deal, but Max Anderson absolutely is a guy to see. And then last, your favorite position, Walker Janik with Houston. He's a catcher, also a guy who's kind of on that fringe of the top 100, but that's your top guys on this team. Again, you have 6 teams, you have 13 to 15 guys that are top. It'll just kind of tell you that we're coming up on a team that has a whole crap ton of top rated prospects, because nobody's had more than maybe 2 legit top 100 guys, or maybe 3 guys that could be in the top 150. We're coming up on a team that has that. But
yeah, so let me throw some more names out just for people to hear once, and then we can recap. The outfielders are the weak point, I would safely say here. We got Ethan Petrie and Sam Peterson of Washington, Nick Morabito of the Mets, and Zach Cole of Houston. The infield is interesting. You already mentioned McGonigal and Anderson, but they have Seaver King, Seaver King, former first top 10 pick, first round top 10 pick of the Nats, DeAndre Smith with the Mets. You also have Jack Penny with Detroit, who I'm not familiar with. So I'll just leave it at that. Parks Harbor, awesome name, with the Giants.
Yes.
Maui Ahuna, also with the Giants. He's from Idaho, it says here, but no, he's from Hawaii, obviously. Walker Martin, who some people are going to remember, the Greeley, Colorado kid, also with the Giants, and then Jaron Williams with Houston. Like really kind of lacking the rest of the finish, I guess, of prospects of interest at the moment. Doesn't mean they're not going to woo us. And you did mention Walker Janik and Chris Suero with the Mets. As far as arms go here, what I love looking just at like the whole roster here on MLB.com, going through it and just being like, no. And I'm not dismissing them. It's like, have I seen them pitch, or have I seen something of them?
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's going to be a lot of learning for me with this particular Scottsdale team, because I am unfamiliar.
Bennett is probably as close to a name guy. Jake Bennett with the Nationals. He was a highly thought of draft pick. I think he was maybe even a second round pick, but then had Tommy John right away. And so he hasn't had a chance to show himself, but he was Oklahoma State. But anyway, he's really good, really talented pitcher from the left side, which I don't know what it is with the Nationals. They do really well developing lefties. It's just something. But the guy on this team who's going to be fun to watch is Kenny Surwa, who is the legit knuckleballer, like primary knuckleballer in the minor leagues.
Yeah,
now, Corey Lewis is with the Twins, throws a knuckleball, but he doesn't feature it. I mean, it's one of his off-speed pitches. Kenny Surwa is your legit knuckleballer, where that's his primary pitch, and that's going to be a fun thing to watch, I guess. You know, if I could go to a ball game and see Kevin McGonigal and Kenny Surwa on the same day, I would be very happy. That would be kind of fun.
The one pitcher on this team that I've been following the longest is Pablo Aldonis, who was a J2 guy from the Dominican way back in 2021, I guess it would have been, because he made his debut stateside in 22. But he has not got above high A, which was this year, and it has not been, amazing or anything, because the inning totals aren't there. But I don't know that he's a bullpen. I don't know what he is, but he is a 6'1" lefty who what's the line this year? 55 innings pitched this year, had 64 strikeouts. He only walked 10, and his ERA was 1.64. So whatever it is, other than the fact he's a J2 eligible type guy, he will be there, and I will be interested to see what kind of positions or situations he gets put in. But that's just because I followed him as a J2 guy, who I remember him. He must have had a dominant season, enough domination that I rostered him. But yeah, realistically speaking, an underwhelming team at the moment, and look forward to them surprising us, just like the surprise Sagaruros
transitions, ladies and gentlemen. Transitions.
That's right. And the Seguros are made up of the Brewers, Guardians, Phillies, Rangers, and of course Royals. Ben, you've got the notables here for the Seguros. As now, am I correct that Chase DeLautner is here? Is this where my errors began? Okay.
No, he is actually well, and I kind of wonder if this might be part of it. Am I wrong in saying this is his third trip to the AFL? I think he might.
It's where he
have
gets
more
his
AFL
most at bats.
I was just saying he may have more AFL at bats than he does minor league at bats so far.
Yeah,
Really,
he is
really
returning.
sad.
Okay, I do see it on the official site. For some reason, just so anybody behind baseball, or sorry, inside baseball, Ben mentioned this morning that I put a bunch of guys on our list in our show sheet that weren't in the AFL, and then I realized that the Houston information I had was obviously incorrect, but I didn't know why. It just every player I mentioned for Houston, he's like, they're not there. I'm like, oh, okay, my source was wrong. Thanks.
So he has
ChatGPT.
168 AFL plate appearances so far. If he just gets another 50, that would give him
full-time record.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. If he gets almost any, he's going to have more than he's had in all but one of his minor league seasons.
Oh, geez.
And the most he has ever had in a minor league season is 242.
Wow.
So I don't think he is going to top that, although he did have 109 in 23 with Peoria. So it is possible.
It could, yeah.
He could end up getting 100 plate appearances, and then he's got more AFL plate appearances than any single season in the minors.
It looks like there's only 6
crazy.
registered outfielders right now, too, Ben. You've got Chase. I know we're going to talk about the top guys. Dante Nori, Dylan Drelling, Wilfredo Antunes, and Carson Rocafort are the other 5. There's at bats there. So, anyway, who are the other top guys that we want to be watching?
Well, because you love catchers, I'm going to bring another one up.
There's 3 on this roster.
And let's see here. Where is he had something There we go. There's the comment from
I'm waiting to
Carter
ask
Jensen.
the last Britain question too. Yeah.
But the Blake Mitchell coming into this year was the more highly thought of prospect than Carter Jensen. Jensen has had a hell of a year this year to legit put he's very likely going to open the season as the starting catcher with Kansas City, or at least in like a mentorship situation with Salvador Perez, where he is catching 4 days a week, Sal's catching 2 days a week and DHing the rest of the time or something like that. But Blake Mitchell is an elite talent. I kind of wonder, as athletically, I wonder if Mitchell might be better served moving to outfield, because there's a legit like 20-20 or even maybe a 30-30 guy here, but he would absolutely need to move out from behind the plate to do that.
Future catcher? Hey, Ben, didn't that happen with that last future catcher of the Royals? Didn't he end up in that outfield?
Yeah, that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
But in defense there, that last future catcher earned his way into the outfield with his porous defense. So, and then his bat just never figured out how to keep up. Now, then again, that same guy hit 40+ home runs in a minor league season. So, again, be careful how you're judging these. But Blake Mitchell is a guy I'm also very curious just to see what he does, just because he has got that level of talent. If I were going, Britton asked who's the number 1 player you want to see at AFL. McGonigal's definitely top of my list, but Aiden Miller of the Phillies would likely be number 2 for me. Not because I think he's a higher rated prospect, just because he does a lot of things very well and ends up with some stat lines that I'm just kind of like, well, how can you be that talented and be hitting 250? Things like that it's just kind of like, wait a minute here. Why are we doing this with the level of talent that you have? So he's a legit top 10 prospect in the game, and probably the best. He would be the best prospect on this team, except they have a guy who is in the conversation for the number 1 overall prospect in the game, Sebastian Walcott, from the Rangers. And before we even get into the rest of this stuff with the Rangers are sending 8 guys to the Arizona Fall League. 7 of those 8 guys are ranked in their pipeline top 30. So they're sending a good crop of players to this, and then Milwaukee is also sending some really good players. This team might have right now the talent lead among, on paper going into the Arizona Fall League season.
Yeah, this definitely, I mean, when you get into the second tier and then the possibility of what some of these other guys could be, I'm right on board with that. Definitely dynamic comes to mind here. So I'll give my cheater answer for my own personal fantasy benefit of the guy that I'm the most interested in, because he is on this team, and that's pitcher Winston Santos of Texas. Mm-hmm. Who I have acquired in 2 leagues now. And he has been hurt, and I need him to pitch because that's what they got to do here in the Fall League. So, but like the infielders on this team, like Miller, Walcott are leading the way, but then they've got, Josh Adams, Serwinski, Luke Adams, both of the Brewers, Juan Benjamin of Cleveland, and then Philly's got Carson DeMartini. Oh, I guess I did not mention Daniel Vasquez of the Royals. They've got guys, but I see the pitching side. To me, there's a lot of guys here that could have. It's going to go both ways. A lot of guys here that could have good fall leagues, and then they're kind of back to being of interest. Jose Cornelli with Texas is one of those. Daniel Espino with Cleveland. I am incredibly interested to see what they do with him, right? As I did mention in the notes, he's essentially already Brent Honeywell Jr., which is very sad because he didn't even pitch this year. He was in the World Series last year.
He has not pitched. Oh, Honeywell, you mean?
Honeywell.
Yeah.
And then, but that's what I'm saying about Espino is of the same ilk now. When was the last time he pitched? 23? He threw 8-9 innings, something silly.
Yeah. Actually, no. He was in spring training in 23, and it popped again. He was coming back from.
Oh my God!
22 is the last time he had a registered professional inning. Chad's
saying he did pitch 3 days ago. Yes, sorry, Chad. I'm referring.
And it did not go well.
I guess I'm referring to healthy pitching, but yes, you're correct. He is back pitching, of course, coming to the fall league.
2/3 of an inning, 3 runs.
I would love if someone picked him in the Rule 5 draft.
Oh my God, would that not be fun?
Colorado. I don't care who anybody San Diego, back when San Diego was taking 3 guys. Just take him, bring him into spring training, max him at push his body and see what he can do. Poor guy.
I'm curious, just Espino, I should look this up here real quick, but Espino or Emiliano Teoda.
Yes, that's the other one. Teodo of Texas.
Be guys who put up some holy crap sort of velocities there, because Teodo has not been healthy. He went to the Arizona Fall League, turned a whole bunch of heads as a starter, or actually he relieved there. They put him into the rotation. He was really doing well in the rotation, and then the elbow popped. And he's come back throwing just as hard, but I'm really curious how he ends up doing.
3 levels for him this year so far, plus fall league upcoming. 30 innings, 29 walks, 38 strikeouts. But again, working back from injury. So there's, again, just to the point of talent, the team's got it, or this particular team has got it. So it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together.
So Espino threw 5 pitches in that 2/3 of an inning. Most of them 4-seamers. He averaged 97.6 with the 4-seamer. So he's got the velo. And so but this team has some interesting ones. Just as, Adam Zuski is a guy you mentioned on the infield, which is, it's interesting to me that he's on the roster as an infielder, because he was announced when Pipeline did their announcements. He was announced as an outfielder. So
well, there are only
I don't know how that's going to
5
happen.
outfielders, so maybe
Yeah.
they're going to move bodies. They do have the least, and I guess it's because they have 3 catchers. They do have the least number of position type players. So, Jimmy, what up?
But then Luke Adams, I put down Luke Adams, the next Ryan Ward ?
Oh my goodness.
Like the profile just fits so well. He's a guy who walks a ton. He has plenty of power. But I don't know. His major league profile is going to be very interesting to see whether or not he can actually get his way to the majors. And then your Canadian boy.
Yeah,
Dante
Norrie, baby.
I put on here Brett Butler starter kit. Like,
oh man, cool. I like that.
But he's got to get to be a really good bunter in order to make that work. But I mean, that is absolutely like if you take Dante Norrie and take his minor league numbers and plug him into who in the majors has done this, like Brett Butler is the guy who comes up with like, I had 4 seasons with these type of numbers, and nobody else has since like 1910 has had those kind of numbers where it's like 70 walks and 40 steals and 10 triples and all this stuff. Because my first instinct watching him is it's a lot like a Lance Johnson, but he walks a lot more than Lance Johnson ever did.
He does. So his season line for everybody is 487 at bats. He has 18 doubles, 12 triples, 4 home runs. So you see the contact and run versus power and trot. But 52 stolen bases, caught 10 times, 75 walks, 85 Ks, and a 361 OBP is the result you get, which is really interesting. So depending on your league, he becomes even more interesting. Now, as a high school drafted guy, he's only 20 years old. He'll play the fall league as a 20-year-old turning 21. So as soon as his 21st birthday comes, the stat line is going to drop because that boy has not tasted alcohol. It is American booze, so Canadian. It's obviously quite well. It's American booze. It's quite watery, but just getting back into it, he's going to be very bloated from having to drink so much to get that alcohol content in. But anyway. He just looks like such an interesting profile, but I think he's going to get fantasy wise passed over because there's no perceived power. And this is where the conversation of power is the last thing to develop. Those guys are going to step up and start to talk about how well it's going to come, but look at that OBP. He's going to get lots of chances, but he's not a power type hitter who does not steal.
No.
He is a contact type hitter who looks to be quite efficient at running as far as making a single, a double, a triple, and moving a base when he gets on, so
physically,
obviously
I
very
look at
aggressive.
him, he looks like if you were going to compare him to another sport, he looks like a defensive back, like a safety defensive back in football. So not a small guy, certainly a guy who could generate power if he wanted to, but you watch the swing plane, you watch his approach, and he is absolutely looking for the first hittable ball and trying to get on base with it. He's not sitting back and waiting for, okay, I want a fastball here and I want to yank it because I want to try and get as much power as I can on it. If a guy wants to pitch him outside, he's going to go with it and he's going to try and push it into the opposite field. For a 20-year-old, it's a very mature approach. But the issue is, you get to the majors, you're going to need to be able to at least be finding gaps in order to have success. You need to have some oomph to the bat.
5'9", 190. That's solid. Like to be 190, only 5'9". Like you're a solid boy. He was a first round pick last year of the Phillies. This is definitely an interesting guy. This is an important fall league in the sense of like building him up because he's tends to not be a list guy. But the stat line, it's very appealing, especially in OBP league. He seems like a safe bet to be somebody who you could use in the future, but Phillies don't typically welcome guys and let them have a position and develop. They are more than happy to sign a free agent to fill a void, outfield specific. I remember Brandon Marsh coming over from the Angels being like, well, that's useless. He turned it around. So they can present opportunity. I don't know if it will be overwhelming for their own guys. But only A-ball this year. So this is an excellent way for him to end his season, and maybe he'll play a little different. Maybe he'll be trying to hit for power. I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a fun team for sure. So,
which that was a great one to end on, because we didn't really even get into a couple of guys I really like on this team. Marco Dingus, which I just love him because of the name, but let's be honest. And, and then you mentioned Carson Roccaforte. That's the guy that I think is going to end up with some really fun highlights, but it's going to be with a glove on his hand. He's going to come out of the AFL with like some big time center field highlights. This is a holy crap defender out there. But we'll have to see if he can do the other things, because I think the Royals are honestly pretty comfortable with the fact that he can play defense. It's just a matter of what does he give us on offense, and that's probably why he's out here. So, this all kicks off October 6th, if I'm correct on that.
I think 6th, so. It ends, I believe, on the 15th of November, and we'll recap it on the 17th of November. But we, Ben, are only going to get together one time in between now and then, and that'll either be the 20th or 27th of next month to review the minor league playoffs and end of year strong finishes and anything fun that happens in between now and then relating to prospects, their movements, and all that fun stuff. Because we got October baseball on the horizon, and I want to watch it.
I'm going to mention here because he's being mean to me. But Chad did mention, and I actually saw this already, that Albies got fractured his hamate on a bad swing, and just kind of took anyway. So maybe Nacho Alvarez has something to play for out there. Fall league now. We'll see. But that's also an interesting thing, because Albies does have an option that's coming up, and that could create some playing time too. And so, it'll be interesting just to kind of see how that plays into things. But Arizona Fall League is one of those places where the Braves are sending Jim Jarvis, who I think they either drafted last year or 2 years ago, but has really shown himself to be a very steady player. Maybe he goes out there and he's like, look at me, I can play second base and I can hit very well. And they go, okay, well, you're our future. You're going to play second base to start the year next year, and that's what we're going to go with. A lot of times that's what happens out here. Somebody actually gives themselves an opportunity the way that they played in Arizona. And so it is the shortest of short season samples. So don't come back with us. Don't come back at us and say, oh my gosh, he stole 30 bases in the Arizona Fall League. This is a future 100 stolen base guy. Understand that the guy who has the record for stolen bases is Caleb Durbin. And Caleb played a full season this year. I was just going to look it up here because
I finished with him on my roster in my home league.
Yeah, I would say I know he didn't get to 30 steals, 16 steals in 485 plate appearances this year. He stole about twice that many last year just in the Arizona Fall League. So that's the numbers can be kind of goofy. But it's a fun thing to watch. 29 steals last year in the AFL for Durbin in 24 games. So that's all I have. Anything else you want to make sure you let our folks know here, Robbie, before we sign off?
No, just recording off-season map for us. We kind of threw something together that we're looking to do. So in January, Ben always likes to celebrate the 6th of January, but by the 12th, we will more than likely be back in regular recording time. I love this. With our big 3 next 3, that's all the deep dive prospects. We'll do 3 teams a night, 3 teams every Monday or whenever we end up recording. That'll be for 10 weeks. And we are going to have a Rule 5 draft recap December 15th. November 17th, as we mentioned, we'll recap the AFL. And at some point, like we mentioned, in a month or so, we'll get through any of the updated news. Now, if things happen between now and then, and Ben and I hop on, that's a bonus because there's lots of content on the Pallazzo channel, as you all listening know. Unfortunately, some of it's NFL related, not CFL and MLB. Still trying to get the National Lacrosse League podcast going, but not getting any go ahead with that. And I do see, I don't know if this was Govier who put on Dynasty Positional Ranking show, potential for that to exist in late December. So we'll see what's up. There's lots coming, but as the MLB regular season and fantasy seasons are coming to an end, Ben and I don't hibernate. We just nap for a bit and then wake back up. So there might be less of us, but we're still kicking.
And could also end up with perhaps we have an interview or two along the way. If we have a special guest who we think would be really good to chat with, then sometimes, like for instance, I will give you a for instance here, draft guys, trying to talk to a draft guy in April, not happening. But we could maybe get a hold of a draft guy in December, January, and have them preview the class, which would be kind of an interesting thing to think about, even though it's 6 months away, but it gives you some names to watch for the summer or for the spring. Things like that. Those are the type of things we might end up doing just to see, maybe we talk with who knows who. We'll see. Maybe when I'm down at Arizona Fall League, I record, a dozen interviews with players and we play those on the channel for the next month, one a week or something, so, but we'll see. There's a lot of fun things we could put together here. But more than anything, we just enjoy chatting with you guys. So thanks for those who gave us some great comments in the chat tonight. And we're looking forward to chatting with you some more this off season.
Well said, Ben. Hit the end stream button.